And hello, everyone. How are you doing? It's Dave Bondy. It is great to see all of you tonight. Tonight is our Keeping It Real show. This is a show where I delve into a specific issue, giving you information that the mainstream media is not giving you, just taking a lot of time talking about certain subjects. And by the way, if you are out there right now watching me and you are not supporting my mission of independent journalism, I need your help, everybody. Let's help support what I'm doing, because I left my job in the mainstream media in order to go independent, and I need your help. I'm going to put a link on the screen. If you are able to donate or contribute, I would ask that you become a paid supporter of my locals community. Locals is $5 a month. You can quit at any time, and by doing that, you're supporting my independent journalism. I'll put a link on the screen. If you can, please support me. I know a lot of you can't, though, due to the economy. The link's on the screen. So what we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to take you back to the days of COVID. Remember COVID? Of course you do. The pandemic. Well, here in the state of Michigan, there were lots of businesses, hundreds and hundreds of businesses in the state of Michigan who went out of business because of the lockdowns and what happened during COVID with the administration and then the health department and so forth. There is a business owner in northern Michigan, Ian Murphy, and he runs a restaurant, and he stood up to the state of Michigan. He stood up to the health department orders, and he got a win recently in court. And this is a big deal. So you're going to hear from him in just a little bit. It's the Iron Pig Smokehouse is the restaurant. I don't know if any of you have been there or not, but it's really a really cool place. And this story is really amazing on how the little guy is now starting to win in the battle over government. So we're going to have that. We're going to look into that as well. And I'm also going to be telling you, and you're going to want to share this. By the way, if you're watching, everyone, share this video right now. Go ahead and share this video. Yeah, Ian is a really cool guy. He is. So also Ascension Healthcare. For those of you across the United States, hey, thank you, Anthony. Good to see you, Anthony. What's up? Anthony's watching everybody on X. Great guy as well, Anthony Hudson. So Ascension Healthcare. They're a Catholic hospital. They have hospitals throughout the United States. They've been hit by a major cyber attack. Well, I'm getting inside information from employees, and they're telling me what it's really like inside the hospital. And it's not all of what you're being told in the media. So I'm going to break that down for you, and you're going to hear that tonight coming up as well. And also, we're going to have a debate about tipping at drive-thrus. Not necessarily tipping, but donating. Do you round up at a drive-thru? I had this on my social media today, and I want to ask you what all of you think about this. Do you give, when they say round up to $1 or whatever, do you do that? When many times you don't know where the money's going. So think about that. But also, it's really important, everyone, to help grow what I'm doing on social media. I am live right now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter X, Rumble, and Locals. And to let everyone know, this entire show is going to be free for everyone on Facebook, YouTube, X, Rumble. On Locals, though, the last 10 to 15 minutes of the show will be for paid subscribers only. And you are able to chat and say whatever you want on the Locals platform, but it will only be live on Locals. So if you would like to become a paid subscriber and support my mission of independent journalism, click the link that I just put on the screen. Click that link. You can sign up. You will get access to all my exclusive content, and you will be able to be involved in the after show. After we end the live stream on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, we will still be live on Locals, but that will only be for paid supporters only. Trust me, you're going to hear me let it all out there. That's where it's really going to go. So, okay, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Oh, yeah, Carl the Barber. Carl the Barber is a big thing, too, that was going on. So thank you, everyone, for watching on Locals, for being here. We're going to get with you privately in a little bit. But let's go to that interview I had with Ian Murphy. He's a restaurant owner in northern Michigan. Remember what it was like during the pandemic. Remember what it was like. Hello, Shelby. Good to see you. Remember what it was like during the pandemic in Michigan. Governor Whitmer shut down restaurants and other businesses. Well, because of the Mackinac Center for Public Policy, they got a win, basically, against her executive orders. But then she used the health department and health departments to keep things locked down. But Ian Murphy, business owner, restaurateur, he was not taking it. He fought back, and he is still challenging this in court. I talked to him about why he's still challenging this and what you can do to help. Take a listen. And hello, everyone. How are you doing? I'm calling this a win for freedom. Ian Murphy, I've had him on the show before, and this is a big event. I want to call it a big event, big news story. The Iron Pig Smokehouse, you own that restaurant up in northern Michigan, correct? We have some big news. Put it out a couple days ago on social media, but there's a lot of people watching who may not know. What's the most recent thing that just happened in court? And for those of you who don't know, you've been embroiled with going after the state of Michigan because they came after you, and a lot of thousands of restaurants during COVID shut the state down basically. But you are one person who you said, no, I'm not going to take it. And you're still fighting it, right?
Yeah. So the Iron Pig takes power from the government again. That's kind of what I've been telling everybody. Yeah. And that's essentially what happened. So Judge Hunter brilliantly ruled for the Constitution back in January of 2022, in which he said that what we're now calling the gathering statutes, which is MCL 333.2253, that's the state health director's authority to limit the gathering of people for any purpose and may establish procedures. It's about 3 sentences long, 5 sentences at best. And that was what they used statewide for the mandates. Everything that everybody remember that we don't need to reiterate. For me specifically, was shutting down my restaurant, opening it back up, shutting it down, curfew, capacity restrictions, signage, all kinds of crazy stuff. In 2022, he gave us that great ruling. So in that ruling, he actually said that there are a couple other statutes that may suffer this same vulnerability to being unconstitutional. And what we ended up finding is that there are a couple of local health director statutes that they also use. So I mentioned 2253 from before.
Yeah.
2453 is almost the exact same language. And if you just remove state health director with local health director, it's the exact same language. May limit the gathering of people for any purpose and may establish procedures. And what Judge Hunter found was that they were, that's just too broad of language. And it delegated the legislature, when they wrote this law back in 1978, improperly delegated, while well-meaning, improperly delegated too much authority and lawmaking writing ability to the executive branch, because the health department is an executive branch agency. And that was the problem. And that was the argument from the beginning.
Yeah. So these laws, they weren't created when COVID happened. They were already in place, you're saying?
Well, so that is actually, there's a distinction there, right? So you got to kind of drill down to the minutia of that a little bit. So what they did was they took a law, an existing law, and they layered on the agencies. So they took a broad language, may limit the gathering of people for any purpose, and use that to write additional law by using the state police, the liquor commission, the health department, Department of Agriculture, and MIOSHA, all in my case. They enabled those people to come after me. They jailed Marlena. They threatened me with jail. So they did actually write laws in the executive branch. And that's why Judge Hunter was saying that it was unconstitutional and it's a delegation violation. So he brilliantly ruled.
The legislature never did that. It wasn't the lawmakers, right?
Correct.
They didn't. That's the important part. Yeah.
Yes. So and then I'll take it one step further, because there was actually 5 statutes that we asked Judge Hunter to look at. And what he ended up doing, and 2 of them were used directly against me and the Iron Pig. So I mentioned the 2453. He ruled that unconstitutional. He left 2451, which we call the imminent danger statute. So we've talked for a long time about this court case in 2020 that knocked down the Emergency Powers of the Governor Act. That one had the words imminent danger in them as well. Reasonable and necessary were also the words that the Supreme Court said that's just too ambiguous. You know, anybody can use the words reasonable and necessary to justify whatever they want. And that's what we found that the governor did, right? So again, these statutes just have too much ambiguity to them.
So if I remember correctly, because I was at the TV station at the time, Whitmer put all these rules and things into place. And then I think the Mackinac Center was involved in fighting all of that. And then that was struck down. Is that when then Whitmer thought, okay, how can I have more control or power? And then she got the health department involved and the other agencies. Is that when she correct, to try to get around things?
Absolutely. So if my timeline is correct, it was roughly on a Thursday, Friday, when the Supreme Court ruled the EPGA, as they call it, or called it because it's no longer in existence. They ruled that unconstitutional. And then pivot to Monday, the following week, Bob Gordon from the health department issued those emergency orders. So the executive orders were gone, and then they reissued the same things: the 6-foot distancing, the masks, and then started layering on more things than that. So what we have now is a state health director and local health director that can no longer limit the gathering of people for any purpose and may establish procedures. Can't do that any longer.
Wow. Now, I haven't looked. I've looked at some of the articles that have come out, but have you seen a response from Nestle or the state? Are they going to challenge this? I'm assuming they will, but have you read anything about what are they going to appeal this even further?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So this lawsuit, it was a declaratory action. So there was no money involved. We weren't seeking money damages. That's a conversation for another day. Yeah. What this was is just asking the judge to look at the constitutionality of it. And this was against the local health department. So we won in 22 against the state health department. This was the local health department. So in our area, it covers 4 counties. 2 commissioners from each county make up a board of health. So the local board of health get to decide on whether or not they want to appeal this case. And it's my understanding that they deadlocked this last Tuesday morning at their last board of health 4-4 on whether or not to appeal. And naturally, the health department officials themselves want to appeal because, as we know, government doesn't like to concede power, and they've had to do it twice now. And I see them finding a way to figure out how to appeal this.
Would this have then, though, broader implications? God forbid we have something else happen. And I keep hearing people say bird flu, and I'm like, I don't want to hear it. But if something were to happen in the near future, I mean, can this be used as an example statewide of how you were successful? And if something were to happen again, I mean, to stop those powers from that would be, say, in Saginaw County or Isabella County, wherever it might be.
In general, the answer to that question is yes. Now, again, there are certain details at this time that I think somebody, let's say in Ottawa County, just for example, I don't know, throwing it out there. We know that health department has been embroiled in a lot of stuff lately. There has to be a food service establishment in that county or that health department's district that had a violation utilizing 2453 against them, because that's ultimately what got us the win. Was that the health department, our local health director, when they gave us the notice, they cited 2453 and 2451, which is the one that Judge Hunter left, which I'll briefly say he left because as constitutional, because there is a chance for me in this instance to go to circuit court, even though the state came in and said, absolutely not, we're not going to let you to go locally to the circuit court, even though that's what we eventually got to. But we had to go through the ringer of all those executive branch agencies, which are in administrative law, and all of those judges are appointed. They're not elected. So you can imagine who they're beholden to.
Yeah.
So, and that's why we never got a favorable ruling in any of our administrative hearings whatsoever.
Some have been asking, and because I posted the story right away, some are asking, oh, why does this business owner care now? Why is he doing this now? And especially, like you said, what we're talking about right now is not really about money. it sounds like it's more about what's right and what's right for Michigan as well. How do you answer the people who say, oh, that's in the past, leave it in the past?
Well, I've never quite seen anything like any of this.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do. We did the right thing when during the first part of the shutdown, March, April, May of 2020. We took our lumps. We did takeout only. We barely survived. Didn't take PPP for the first go around. And then ultimately it's been about our employees. And I've been saying it from the beginning. It's a fight for, it's not a fight against. I love our country. I just really dislike our government and how they've been doing everything. And we've cited examples from here in Michigan from the beginning of how they should have handled things. And it turns out Judge Hunter sort of affirms that. He says, you need to at least give these folks notice, whether it's a business or a home, or like an instance that we cited in some of our first briefing was the Eaton County Health Department was going around putting notices on the doors where there were known positive COVID cases. And it was up to you or the other adults to decide whether they wanted to go into that or sorority or a restaurant, in my case.
So as of now,
my answer, my answer to that is it's for my employees, it's for my business and for my family. That's what it's always been about from the beginning. It's not been about money, but the reason we're still open and we're still able to fight this battle, if you want to call it that, is because of the amazing support and people that have patronized Iron Pig for the last 4+ years.
Absolutely. And it's, in my belief as well, doing the right thing. I've talked to business owners over the last couple of weeks, some who are no longer business owners because they lost their restaurant. And some are asking me now, and maybe you can or can't talk about this, or you've talked to other business owners. Is there anything that can be done now looking back and being like, the state literally destroyed my business or did this? And we're looking back now and like, this was not proper. This was not appropriate. Do any businesses, and you may not know this, I may have to ask a lawyer, but has it been talked about to seek any, class action or any action against the state for what did happen during COVID? Because a lot of people lost a lot.
Yeah, a lot. So I have over 60+ names of restaurants, food service establishments, technically, as the health department calls them or licenses them.
Yeah.
From around the state that are interested in and want to join a class action lawsuit. Now, these are some that have gone out of business. These are some that have had violations. These are some like Marlena exactly is on this list, has been jailed because of it. What we're finding is obviously the wheels of justice do not move fast or swift.
No.
And sometimes we don't necessarily want them to. It's kind of like government, the legislative process. It's not supposed to be fast and quick, right? We want these drawn out conversations. The problem we're having, I shouldn't say problem. What the issue is right now is there are unresolved cases, mainly regarding T&V Associates, which is a Macomb County. Again, they're out of business. I think they may be back in business again, in a different name.
Okay.
But they have a case that's before Michigan Supreme Court that is reaffirming Judge Hunter's January 2022 ruling of the State Health Directors Authority being unconstitutional.
Okay.
So that is a big linchpin in a class action suit. So standing, mootness, and then being able to overcome and have these higher court rulings are all real key things to have in our tool belt when we go to take a class action to the Court of Claims, because that's where it's going to have to go. And the Court of Claims is the swampiest of all swamp places.
Yeah. Yeah. I've learned a lot in the last year about that. Okay. So just hold on and stand by there for business owners. And I asked you the last time I talked to you, but I think even people who were maybe supporting a lot of lockdowns or mask wearing or whatever, they've opened their eyes. I hope we've learned a lesson and look back at everything, especially when it comes to so forth education, that we won't allow ourselves to be in this situation again. I would hope, because I posted a video or a photo. Remember when they had literally the Lowe's or whatever, you couldn't buy the plant seeds. And I posted a photo of it, and someone said, why are you bringing that up again? I'm like, I don't think we should ever forget what happened. Do you think we learned a lesson as a society, but especially a state? Because we were one of the worst when it came to this.
We were one of the worst. We were one of the most absurd. One of the most arbitrary and most hypocritical. I think those are all wonderful adjectives to use about how our state government handled COVID during that time.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people's eyes have been opened. Unfortunately, I think not enough eyes have been opened. If, my advice for anybody moving forward always would be, take everything with a grain of salt. A lot of times the people that are giving you information may not necessarily have your best interest at heart. It doesn't mean that people in authority don't know what they're talking about, but be patient, because that's ultimately what we found out, I think, with COVID, was a lot of the things that were instituted weren't necessary. And nobody ever wanted to capitulate on a lot of those things, the masking and the social distancing and some of that stuff. I mean,
the 6 foot rule, I think the 6 foot rule thing or whatever it was came out recently in testimony somewhere that Fauci admitted they just kind of made it up out of thin air.
Right. Exactly. And it's unfortunate that it has to come out, almost 4 years later, these things, but it goes to show you what our society's reliance on government and the authority that government provides, or quote unquote authority.
Last thing, how are you? So you're still taking lots of risk by speaking out, but there's the average person. I meet people all the time that they're scared to speak out on many different issues, societal or policy or whatever, because they're afraid they'll be demonized or so forth. Myself, I get a lot of hate from people, but even the average person, what do you say to people who are scared? I mean, some don't want to lose their jobs, but I think we need, as a society, just have more open conversation. What can we do to fuel that? Because sometimes when people open their mouths, they'll be like, oh, you're this, you're that, you're that. I think we all just need to have a free flow of conversation, and you weren't afraid to do it. I think people are looking up to you for that.
I can't speak to the looking up to me part of it. What I can say, there's a couple of things to address there. And I think, the first part of it is peer pressure is enormous. And I think that was a huge weapon. It was weaponized during COVID because of the community aspect to it, right? It was so viral that I'm doing my part. Why aren't you doing yours? Was a huge part of it. And a lot of that still lingers in some of these things. And unfortunately, it's very political now. So I think going into an election year, especially, some people are unwilling to give up some of those things. And now, unfortunately, I mean, you see it on the college campuses. A lot of these protesters are wearing, N95 masks and other things like that. So it's difficult. I know, I understand. I've had a friend of mine that lost a job with the Liquor Commission because he was voicing his support online for me. I've had another person be called into their office again because of somebody sent their boss screenshots of their support of the Iron Pig during the first, the worst part of the shutdowns in the fall of 2020. Peer pressure is amazing. Some people have been able to withstand it. At the end of the day, for me, it was a matter of, can I withstand that? Or should I do something about all of this? So at least at the end of the day, my business does go away, goes bankrupt because of whatever decisions I have made. At least I can rest my head on my pillow at night knowing that I did as much as possible as I could with what I had at that time. And it just so happens I have an amazing attorney who knew nothing about health law, a little bit about liquor law, and just enough naivete between the two of us to take on something that has turned out to be a huge win 2 times over, and hopefully changes the way public health is administered in Michigan.
Gotcha. Well, I think people are looking up to you. They're, congratulating you, and people are beginning to talk more. So I appreciate that. And keep me updated. on what happens with this case. And I need to get in touch with the other case at the Macomb County Business. I think I've talked to them before when I was at the TV station, but I need to look into that because that's going to be a big issue as well. But I wish you all the best. And I haven't been to the restaurant yet. I'm going up north in about a month. I'm going to stop in.
Yeah, definitely also look into the T&V Associates
Yes.
case, because the health department gave up their appeal against us because we were on a track to go to the Court of Appeals.
Oh.
They got a win with T&V Associates. And then in the Court of Appeals, their win of constitutionality got overturned. That's why they ended up giving up, because they had the win over here that ended up getting overturned. So they played themselves. So now this case is going up to the Michigan Supreme Court. I haven't heard if it's been put on the docket yet. I hope it's going to be sometime. I almost said this season, but this year. So I guess it kind of does seem like seasons at this point. It does. Just like, this stuff keeps coming back around. But please, if you get a chance, brother, come up here. And I just want to say that there has not been a lot of chatter about this in the media.
Well, yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. And I think that's why not? You put out a news release, and obviously that was your side. But what media? I saw there was a newspaper. Was it Petoskey, maybe?
Yeah, so our local, that's our local news. So
okay, but why this should be a statewide issue, the Detroit stations, because this is a big issue. Traverse City, Alpena. They should be covering this?
It's an interesting juxtaposition, because when they were threatening me with jail, when they were taking my licenses, when they were trying to fine me $5,000, they were all about it. They, it was above the fold, one of the top things, and everything always had COVID statistics were curbed at the end of it. Yep. Trying to make it sound like I was responsible for Otsego County COVID numbers going up.
Yeah.
The silence is sort of deafening at this point, and I've tagged them in some tweets trying to kind of bring them along a little bit. But I will tell you, really the only ones that seem to be interested, besides the folks that, if there were sides in this issue, the folks that are on the winning side, my side, and it seems like they're mostly conservatives, mostly Republicans. There are a few of those outlets have run a story, but everybody else hasn't. Newsweek the Daily Beast ran a story on me because I had a Kiss Me I'm Contagious t-shirt that we did for a St. Patty's Day party in 2021.
Wow.
But do they think to want to tell the entire story? No, they don't. And this is why I was saying earlier, take everything with a grain of salt when information is being fed from you, whichever avenue that happens to be. But, it makes me appreciate independent journalists, podcasters, radio folks that are willing to talk about these issues. Even now, COVID, talking about this stuff 4 years later, I think there is a bit of, people are tired of talking about it. I mean, I know I'm tired of talking about it, but that's no excuse.
No, and that's one reason why I walked away from the media. And I dealt with it a lot whenever we would have to offer a correction. Say we did a 3-minute story to lead the 6 p.m. news. That correction would be a 20-second story at the end of the next day's 6 p.m. news. So it should have been equal to the coverage we gave it, and it never was. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing what's happening. I mean, even just in the last 4 or 5 years and everything that I've been involved with. And then, I mean, you and I could have a conversation for probably 2 hours about this, but I do find it fascinating. And I do believe that the independent, the podcasters, people like you that are going out, striking out on your own, doing different things. This maybe sound like the Mutual Admiration Society right now, but I don't care. I appreciate what you're doing, if I can say that without sounding too gratuitous.
No, you can say that, because I know there's some in the as I call them, corporate media or whatever. They're not too happy with me, but again, I don't care. I now know what's right and what's wrong, and if I mess up, I'll call myself out, and I've done it many times. So yeah.
And we all have a family to support too, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you go. Tell all the mothers in your world happy Mother's Day, and keep me updated on your case as well. And I will get with the lawyers with that other case that's headed to the Supreme Court. I'll get up on that.
You got it. Sounds good. Thanks, Dave.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, everyone. There you go. Wow, what happened to my logo back there? I have my logo on the monitor back there, and it's not working. How's everyone doing, by the way? I usually have my logo up on the screen. It must have ran out. It goes for like an hour and a half. Anyway, while that loads, I want to ask everyone a question. Everyone who is out there right now, when you are at a drive-through, and today you may have saw my video on social media. I went to a Taco Bell, and I shouldn't have. I know it's trash. It's food that's killing us. It is, and I shouldn't have went, but I did because I was in a hurry. But when I went there, the guy asked me, "Would you like to blah 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 donate donate $1 to this whatever, round up to $1?" And I said no. I used to do it, but the more I thought about it, I don't know where that money's honestly going. If I know where the money's going and it's going to good, I might donate. Absolutely. I've helped lots of organizations and lots of people before. But it seems like everywhere you go now, they're asking you to round up or they're asking you to give a tip. I was at the Detroit Tigers game today. Okay. I want to ask all of you this. I was at the Detroit Tigers game today. And when I went and bought a $8 hot dog, ridiculous, honestly, it came up on the screen. Do you want to tip 5, 10, 20%? I said no. And I don't know, what is your take on that? Do you tip on that sort of thing? Thank you, JTSSRX, watching on X. I really appreciate it. Paula on Local says no, we're paying enough. Laura Pat says it goes towards their employees' college. It's okay. I didn't know that. Bob Gomez says no over on Locals. A lot of people with different thoughts. Oh yeah, the Iron Pig. They're amazing. They're amazing people. I do not find the company has more money than I do. Someone says. Yeah. So do you round up and donate to whatever they say round up to help kids? Okay, where's that money going? I don't know. I'm a journalist, so I usually don't trust people. I don't even trust some of my family members. And if they're watching, they're probably not, but they probably know who they are. I don't trust some of them. I don't trust many people at all. And I encourage everyone to be very skeptical of everything. That's what a journalist and someone does. Someone says an $8 hot dog. Not on an $8 hot dog. They're just putting the dog in the bun. Absolutely. I would hope the Tigers would be paying them a lot, but they're probably not. It's up to the buyer for the tip. And why would you round up to do the roundup or round up our paycheck? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Sorry. So yeah, really interesting. I just want to have a discussion right now on everyone. What do you think about that? Do you pay round up, or do you tip? Like if you're at a baseball game, like I was today at Comerica Park in Detroit, do you go ahead and tip on that? A lot of food vendors are working to raise money for school functions. Okay, I didn't know that. So there's a lot I don't know. And I'll admit when I'm wrong too. I'm wrong often. I want to play a video right now out of East Lansing, Michigan that has a lot of people talking. And I'm going to play this video several times for you. I want you to take a look at this. The police in East Lansing, Michigan are taking a look. They're trying to find the person in this video. I can't make it any bigger. So if you can take a close look at your screen right here, take a look at the guy who's standing up. There's a guy sleeping. See right over here on this bench right here? There's a guy sleeping. Okay. Is he homeless? I don't know what he's doing. This is in East Lansing, Michigan. So I'm going to play the video. Watch this. See these two walking right here? And then this guy walks over, slaps the guy in the face, or woman, or whoever. And this guy right here, though, had a camera. Look at, he was videotaping what was happening right here. Police in East Lansing, they're looking for this individual. You can't just walk up and slap someone unless this was staged. There are many people on social media that would stage this in order to get some social media hits. But anyway, East Lansing police, though, they're looking for that individual right here. Oh, and there's another person recording right over there. So there's a person with a camera right there recording. And there's this guy right here with a camera recording. So was this a setup? Was this really a crime? What went on there? Anyway, that's from the East Lansing Police Department in Michigan. Lots of interesting takes coming out on that right there. So let me know what you think in the comments below about that. Someone just said stupid. All of the guys need to go to jail. They all knew he was going to do it. Tip is included in the hot dog price. Okay, sorry, Jeff. Just looking at some of your comments over about this, though. Yeah, very, very interesting indeed. Terrible. Maybe that guy should get a full-time job. And what Lorraine says maybe that guy should get a full-time job, and they wonder why they end up in jail, why anybody ends up in jail. It may have just all been a setup for social media. A lot of people, you've seen those videos on a plane. You see videos on a plane where people do weird, wild stuff. It's not even real. They make up some of this stuff. They make up some of this stuff on social media just to get hits and clicks. I verify everything I put out there. Someone is recording, I think it was staged. Yeah, it may have been staged. And I hope the East Lansing police will go ahead and update us and let us know if it was staged. I want to get into something right now that is impacting a lot of people, not just in Michigan, but in the United States. Throughout the United States, Ascension Healthcare, they had a major cyber hack. Take a listen to this headline from CBS Chicago.
Ascension, one of the leading nonprofit Catholic health systems in the country, is experiencing what they believe to be a cyber attack, saying access to some of their systems has been interrupted. CBS 2's Sabrina Franza is outside the hospital in Lakeview with more on what's happening tonight. Sabrina?
Hi, Joe. So many unanswered questions in this possible cyber attack situation. Ascension has...
Well, yeah, there's so many questions that are out there, but I'm actually getting comments and workers texting me and reaching out to me from inside Ascension. They're telling me exactly what's going on inside Ascension. I want to read this message to you right now from someone who is an employee at Ascension. And I'm not going to say the name. It's a ransomware attack, I'm being told. Basically, Ascension Hospital throughout the country, they're in Michigan, Missouri, Indiana, they're in other states. I don't know what country is doing the ransomware attack, but I'm being told that they are holding all of the patient data basically hostage. Okay, the worker writes me, please don't include my name. I work at an Ascension hospital and can say it's complete chaos. We can't go on diversion as we are a NICU. It is absolutely terrifying how things are being done. Very unprepared as an organization. That's what an employee at Ascension wrote me in a message a short time ago. And I had another person who messaged me who said that they are having to do all their paperwork. They don't have access to medical records. First of all, that's what I'm hearing from sources inside Ascension as well. And I'm also hearing that they are having to do everything written down on a paper. So elective surgeries are being canceled, I heard. But as you can see, let's listen to the story and see what's coming out in the media.
Spotted unusual activity and acted immediately, beginning an investigation into what they believe was a cybersecurity attack.
Hospitals are some of the most connected places in the world.
Paul Keener is a cybersecurity expert with GuidePoint Security. He says this announcement is a different reaction than other hospital networks targeted in similar attacks. We previously reported on an attack at Lurie Children's Hospital.
So there's been cyber attacks happening throughout the United States, but this is one that is still continuing at hospitals. All hospitals would have the same trouble. The older generations can do things on paper. Yeah, but everything's electronic now. And if this was done by China, if this was done by Russia, they have access to all of this information now and all this patient data. So I just wanted to let you know that I am hearing from sources inside Ascension who are telling me that it's complete chaos. Now, Ascension says they're doing the best they can, and I'm sure they are. You know, I worked for a TV station, Sinclair Broadcasting, when they had a major hack. It was a ransomware. I believe it was an attack from Russia, and they were holding all of our information and data hostage. And I don't think Sinclair paid them, but it's becoming more and more. It's happening more and more out there. So anyway, just wanted to give you an update on this as well. JTSSRX, I am going to do that. Actually, yes. I'm going to look into that because there's lots of issues involving Governor Whitmer in the nursing homes that I need to look into, and I'm going to look into as well. I'm going to play a video right now. Today is Mother's Day, and I want to give a shout out to my wife, who is a mother, and I want to give a shout out also. Oh, hold on. Oh, hold on. Hold on. I want to play a video from my mom. My mom passed away. It'll be 2 years ago this upcoming Friday, and she was an amazing mom. I don't know how she dealt with me. I don't know how she dealt with a lot of my siblings. But I want to play a video from my mom from a couple years ago. It was a little short I made. Take a look at this. I'm here at the nursing home with my mom. She is 88 years old. I want to get her take on the world that it is today. So what's your take on the world?
My take, I think it's ridiculous, and people should start thinking.
You heard it from my mother, my 88-year-old great mother here. Everyone, just try to think. Use common sense. I'm Dave Bondy, keeping it real. So that was my mom 2 years ago, and I think she's looking down in heaven now. She's in a much better place, but she's probably looking at everyone and saying, "What the heck is going on with society nowadays?" So, yeah, very, very interesting indeed. Okay, so for those of you who are watching right now on Facebook or on X or on YouTube, we are going now to go live only on locals. And like I said, for those of you watching on X, there's a lot of you watching on X right now, 217, and there's 8 of you watching on YouTube, 11 on Facebook. We're going to end this live feed, but we are going to continue the live feed in the members only, which is on locals. I ask all of you, if you can, support my independent journalism. $5 a month. I walked away from my high-paying job in the media in order to go independent. I need your help to keep going what I'm doing right here. It takes a lot of time to put everything together. And I do content every day. I do an email newsletter. I do a lot of stuff. So click that link that you see in the chat right now. There should be a link there called davebondy.locals.com/support. If you can click on that link, davebondy.locals.com/support. Click on that link, join my locals community, and you will get exclusive access to everything, but you'll also be supporting my mission of keeping it real. I'm not beholden to big pharma or any big corporate money. You know, I'm beholden to all of you and to my paid subscribers on locals. So we're going to end this right now on Facebook and YouTube and X, and we are going to stay live on locals for subscribers only. So I hope you can join me right now. If you're not a locals, if you're not a paid subscriber on locals, I hope you can become one. I would appreciate it if you could. And we are going to be going live on locals in just a little bit. So thank you everyone for joining me who is watching on Facebook and on X and on YouTube.